You tend to assume that people notice the things that are very noticeable to you, maybe something you're really embarrassed about. But often people miss these things, or they actually just don't care. For example, you might be saying to yourself, oh, my outfit is so bad. It's so badly put together. I've got greasy hair. I just look so bad. You might really be thinking about this. You might look at yourself in the reflection of the cars as you walk past them and think, oh my God, I just look so bad. Oh, I need to look down and make sure no one sees me, and just need to make sure that I get to the shop quickly and then get back home quickly. You might really be obsessing over how you're looking the entire walk. And naturally, you're then going to project these thoughts and assume that others are thinking the same way about you, because that's all you can think about. So yeah, then you have no time to assume that people are thinking about other things. But people are consumed with their own fears, their own insecurities, their own to-do lists. And it's really important that we remind ourselves of that. You know, you're the most fascinating person in your life. You spend the most time thinking about you, and the same goes for everybody else. Hello beautiful people, I'm Alessia. I'm so glad to be sat with you. I'm really excited to film this video. I actually was really inspired to film this because I read this book and it very lightly discusses the spotlight effect. It really resonated with me, and I thought this is going to really resonate with my YouTube community, particularly with women that find they get a bit obsessed with how they come across to others, particularly men. I speak a lot on this channel about the obsession us women can get into with male validation and being attractive for men. I think this is something that society gears us up to want as women, as young women, and it's something that we actually kind of have to do our own internal work to overcome as women, and it's something that I really try to help women do. But anyway, the spotlight effect. So do you often feel like everybody is watching you, everybody's judging you, everybody's scrutinizing you, or just interested in you to an uncomfortable degree? If you're saying yes, if you're nodding along, likelihood is you're struggling with the spotlight effect and probably anxiety. They kind of go hand in hand. The spotlight effect is a phenomenon where people think that they stand out more than they actually do. And this can be in a positive way as well as in a negative way. People who struggle with the spotlight effect have a fear of being observed, a fear of being seen. They struggle to enjoy outings because they just feel the eyes on them all the time. The fear of being observed can be really debilitating. If you are thinking that people are deeply interested in you, even strangers on the street, you're going to end up putting this massive pressure on yourself to be perfect, to come across the right way. So, I just quickly want to say, I believe that women in particular are more likely to struggle with the spotlight effect because, in a sense, we are under the spotlight. We're under a metaphorical spotlight. Women are constantly in the media and in society being judged, objectified, reduced down to their physical appearance. Women are constantly being ridiculed and being watched very vigilantly by people online. Women are being called difficult or intimidating, or people might just be saying, oh, there's just something about her I don't like. All of these things lead to us being hyper aware of how we're coming across. That lends itself to us suffering with the spotlight effect. If we're seeing a lot of the time that there are a lot of eyes on women and a lot of opinions on how women should be and look and come across, of course we're going to then become a bit obsessed with that ourselves because we want to protect ourselves so we don't get judged or cast aside like the women in the media. Women are being criticised all over the shop for their imperfect bodies and their unlikable characters. So it's no wonder we feel so scared to exist out in public, to be seen. So how to move the spotlight away from you? How do we enjoy going out without having those kind of really debilitating thoughts about what other people are thinking about us? There is an element of needing to let go of control of how other people are going to perceive you, particularly men. We do not exist as women to please men. You do not owe these random men on the streets that you walk past beauty. You do not need to look beautiful and pout as you walk past them. That takes away from you really embracing the music you're listening to. That takes away from you enjoying the sounds of the birds singing. You do not owe these random men that you'll probably never see again beauty. So if you struggle with the spotlight effect, you probably spend a lot of time thinking in your head, worrying. And when we do that, our body tends to reflect that kind of inward panic. I find that when I'm really struggling with the spotlight effect, feeling like everyone's looking at me and judging me, I spend so much time looking down at the floor when I could be looking up at the beautiful autumn trees and the people living their lives. I go out because I want to see life outside of my own, but I spend so much time looking down. If we're in our heads feeling insecure and worried, we're likely to be looking at the floor, as I said, maybe have a bit of an arched back, lowered gaze. So purposely adopting open body language and confident body language is a really good way to shift your attitude, to shift your mindset. Right now, you might be slouched on the sofa. I want you to open your arms, lower your shoulders, puff out your chest a bit, raise your head, lengthen your spine. How do you feel? Do you feel more confident, more at peace, more calm, more sure of yourself? We can use our bodies to evoke certain feelings within us. So this is known as embodied cognition, when we use our bodies to shift our emotions and our mindset. And this is something that lots of people do. Professional public speakers do this. They assume power poses to get them into the right mentality, to influence how they interact with people, how they show up, how they feel. Look up power poses on Pinterest. This is one. I think they also say putting your hands kind of above your head is a really good way to kind of get the juices flowing to make you feel more confident. So yeah, when you're out and you're starting to feel a bit panicked that people are judging you, people are staring, don't curl inward. Don't look down. That really does facilitate us overthinking and getting in our own heads. Allow your body to open up and see the world around you and notice how that really impacts your mentality. Okay, so when you're going on a walk or going to a coffee shop, whatever you're doing, when you're going to do these things that usually lead to you panicking about being seen, I encourage you to move your thoughts away from yourself. And I instead encourage you to observe your environment. It's so easy to feel self-conscious when you're so focused on how you come across. When you're so focused on yourself, it's very easy to assume everybody else is focused on you. But when you observe your environment and you keep your thoughts on matters unrelated to you, you approach these situations with more confidence and ease and less insecurity and less fear. Our mind can only focus on one thing. So if you focus on your environment rather than on how you come across, you don't give that space for overthinking. So I'll give you a little run through of what kind of goes through my mind when I'm intentionally observing my environment, trying to kind of be more present and less panicked. Oh, look at those women. They're sat having a coffee together. Wow, they look close. They're laughing a lot. That's so sweet. I wonder what they're drinking. Is that a flat white? Oh, a bird has just flown by. What colour is that bird? Oh, it's landed in the tree. Look how beautiful the tree looks. Look at it swaying in the wind. The sound of the wind. So relaxing. What can I smell? Pastries from the coffee shop. What can I hear? the sounds of the birds tweeting, music drifting out from the coffee shop into the street. When we focus on these things, we relax. When we focus on what is going on in our current environment, it's so much easier to feel calm. The unknown panics us as humans, trying to predict what other people are going to do or say or think. So focus on the known. Focus on what is literally right there in front of you. Focus on the things that you can literally point at. So to further enhance these walks, going to your coffee shop, whatever you're doing, I encourage you to listen to music. And I encourage you to listen to music that, not music that hypes you up and that makes you really aware of yourself, but music that makes you really grateful and really curious. I like to listen to instrumental music, quite calm music, quite joyful music when I'm going to a coffee shop on my own to do some work, because that's when my fear of being seen really shows up. I need to consciously work towards observing my environment rather than worrying about how I'm coming across. And music can really help us focus our attention on something, on a certain feeling, on embodying certain characteristics. I feel like I'm more sassy and in touch with my sexuality and my body when I listen to music by Sabrina Carpenter and Ariana Grande, and I love that. But at the moment, I'm listening to those kinds of artists when I'm on my own in my bedroom, or when I'm really wanting to kind of, I don't know, feel beautiful. I find that, for example, Beyonce's music really makes me get into kind of main character mode. It makes me really aware of myself. The lyrics focus on the self, on I'm that girl, I'm the boss. And it's really easy to then be very aware of yourself. And that's quite counterintuitive if you're trying to dull the spotlight effect. It's hard to calmly and thoughtfully focus your attention on the beautiful flowers you're walking past when you're listening to really loud, fast-paced music that has self-focused lyrics. So I really encourage you to just select your music wisely. Maybe make a playlist specifically for these outings where you want to be more present in your environment and more grateful and less aware of how you're coming across and who you are and what your story is. Sometimes just letting go of the self is the most freeing thing. Letting go of who you are and what you want to look like and how you want to come across and what your style is and what your purpose is. It's so nice to just sometimes throw that all away and just be. We spend so much time thinking about ourselves and it gets tiring. I think that's why I love going to the cinema. I love seeing other people's stories and being allowed no room to think about myself for an hour and 40 minutes. It's so bliss. I'm actually going to put now a screenshot of some songs that I listen to that really enable me to get into this like thoughtful observation mode. I also want to say it might even be worthwhile putting your phone away in your back pocket, in your bag, and just being there and listening to all the sounds around you. I know that might be deeply uncomfortable for many of us because we have formed real attachments to our screens, to being kind of busy and stimulated in some way. But if you do find it uncomfortable not listening to something, maybe that's something you need to look into and question. It's actually much easier to be more aware of your environment and everything going on in it and more present when you can hear everything going on in your environment. If you hear the birds tweeting, you're inclined to look up and look for the bird. It really facilitates that observation mode. So yeah, maybe just completely unplug altogether. You tend to assume that people notice the things that are very noticeable to you, maybe something you're really embarrassed about. But often people miss these things, or they actually just don't care. For example, you might be saying to yourself, oh, my outfit is so bad. It's so badly put together. I've got greasy hair. I just look so bad. You might really be thinking about this. You might look at yourself in the reflection of the cars as you walk past them and think, oh my God, I just look so bad. Oh, I need to look down and make sure no one sees me, and just need to make sure that I get to the shop quickly and then get back home quickly. You might really be obsessing over how you're looking the entire walk. And naturally, you're then going to project these thoughts and assume that others are thinking the same way about you, because that's all you can think about. So yeah, then you have no time to assume that people are thinking about other things. But people are consumed with their own fears, their own insecurities, their own to-do lists. And it's really important that we remind ourselves of that. You know, you're the most fascinating person in your life. You spend the most time thinking about you. And the same goes for everybody else. We are inherently wired as humans to be more concerned with our own experiences than those of others. And to further this point, I'm going to post a screenshot in a second of the study that kind of proved the spotlight effect, proved that it's a thing. And I think you might find it really useful and hopefully empowering. So feel free to give the video a pause now. So you might feel like the spotlight is constantly on you. And I get that, particularly if you're a woman, that feeling of being seen as something we struggle with, that feeling of being intruded, of being judged is very present for a lot of us because of the society we live in, the patriarchal society we live in, the misogynistic society we live in, the dehumanizing society we live in. I really get why we're so vigilant and so aware and so panicked when we're walking out and being out in the world. But we're not constantly being watched. There are moments when we can be in our little bubble, our little private bubble out in the world. People are busy worrying about their own things. And I really want you to remind yourself that whilst you're an interesting person, you're not that interesting to everybody. The spotlight may be on you sometimes, but it's not always there. And it often shines far brighter in your mind than it does in reality. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please do share your thoughts. I realise it's actually quite a complicated topic, especially when we bring in women's experiences into the mix and what it's like to exist in this world where women are constantly being policed and told to come across a certain way and look a certain way. I get that it's a really complicated topic and how the world that we live in really kind of reinforces the feeling of the spotlight for us women. So I get it's a really difficult thing, and I'd just love to hear your thoughts. And I want us to all rally together and look after each other in the comment sections. And yeah, please feel free to comment back to other people and be kind. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love.